We are not live yet, Callum. Now we are live. I retract my statement. That is not the song I was doing. I was doing Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Which version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
The OG.
Just Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, Heroes in a Half Shell, Turtle Power.
Just double checking, because even though that's the most popular one, there are some other very.
There's like the Nickelodeon one.
Yeah.
The Nickelodeon one.
Rise.
A more upbeat and hip poppy version. That's the one with Samwise Gamgee as Ralph. But me,
That theme song is good.
was in Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
Yeah, Samwise Gamgee for taters. He was Ralph. Yes.
Yeah, Rob Paulson was Donatello in that. Now I'm thinking you ruined this whole episode.
Is that the Nickelodeon one, or is that Rise? I didn't know Sean Astin was in it.
It's the Nickelodeon one before Rise.
Yeah, okay,
It's
cool.
like the really good one. That's whenever people are like, oh, that great new Ninja Turtle show, that's the one they're talking about.
Yes.
I mean, I still really like Rise.
I want to say,
I like Rise okay. It's fine. Rise is good.
Rise has the better animation. I'm going to say that.
I disagree. I personally disagree. This is about Falcon and Winter Soldier. Hello, everybody, and welcome to Disney+Pals. I am joined by Jack of all trades, Squid Bear, Callum McRitchie, also known as Scottsmire, and today we are talking about episode 2 of Falcon and Winter Soldier. Do these episodes have names? I never looked for that.
This was the Star-Spangled
Man.
Oh, that makes me hate this episode even more.
Well, they played that song. They played that song from the first film during this episode.
I know. I was so pissed off when they played it because I was just sitting there like, we recently reviewed that movie on the channel, and I was just sitting there like, that's Cap's song. Get that away from Jack or John or whatever his name is. I don't even care about him. A really good song though. I love Star Spangled Man.
Yeah.
Anywho, gonna give my brief recap of this episode, and then we can discuss it. In this episode, we are introduced to John Walker. We learn that he is a celebrated military vet that is taking over the role of Captain America. Bucky and Sam are not super okay with it. But they have more important things to do. They got to take on the Flag Smashers. But Captain America, the new, actually interrupts that mission and fights them as well. He talks with Sam and Bucky like, hey, yo, you got to join me. And they're like, no, your ears are big. And then they leave. And he does have big ears. So, what's the rest of the story? I watched this a little while ago. Anyone want to take over the recap?
It gets a bit personal with Bucky. Bucky introduces Falcon to a parent old friend who gets upset. They leave. They meet up with the mental health psychiatrist again. They talk to each other. They get upset. They leave, and then other mission shenanigans and something about the bad guy setting something up, trying not to get caught, and then something about maybe a glimpse of the villain from Civil War catching on to people.
I remember they meet Elijah Bradley, who is technically in the MCU canon the second Captain America.
Oh, I know about this. I actually researched about this and.
And along with Elijah, his grandson is shown, which I'll talk about him later. But after Sam realizes this, he gets really upset. A racist cop, pulls him over. But they actually end up arresting Bucky because he missed his therapy sesh. He goes to a therapy sesh with Sam. It is revealed that Bucky is a little bit deeper than we thought he was with his feelings for Sam. Maybe he's putting a lot of stock into his belief of Sam. But John Walker is outside, and he's like, "Hey, you got to join me." And it's like, "No, your ears are still big." And then they leave. And the show ends, I believe, with the discovery that maybe the Flag Smashers aren't all that bad, and the reveal that we're going to see Zemo in the next episode.
Yeah, it's been a while since we've seen you, Zemo. How you doing?
Oh, he's good. He's in a room. He's chilling. I wonder, like, do they feed him like regularly?
Chilling.
I have to assume so. There's some human rights violations there if you don't.
I just
Chilling.
I just find it weird to imagine Baron Zemo just like sipping soup in a cell.
Yeah, just chilling like a villain.
I hate you, Callum. So, did we have anything specifically liked about this episode before I get into some of the lore stuff? Because we got a lot of comic shit in this episode.
Don't discriminate, big-eared people. We got Hogarth Hughes from Iron Giant, which I literally just saw tonight. Don't forget Dumbo. Dumbo, I tell you!
Sorry, Callum. I'm big-eared bigoted. I'm
Dare
sorry.
you. Just because people have a potentially sharper sense of hearing doesn't mean you should discriminate the size of their elephant mouse-like ears. That's a paradox in itself.
You see, Callum, my ears are big, and therefore I hate people with big ears. It's like self-loathing.
You would hunt and betray your own kind for this kind of mockery?
Yeah. But Cal, since you're speaking up and accusing me of big-eared bigotry, which I admit to, did you have anything about this episode you liked?
Bucky and Falcon seemed. I mean, of course, you'd expect this from the Marvel Cinematic Universe team, but still, it's worth mentioning anyway. They got some great back and forth throughout the episode, whether it be serious or when they're not taking it seriously. And you could definitely sense what connects them both together, which is thematically appropriate, is both of them being former partners of Steve Rogers. Not just Captain America, specifically Steve Rogers. If I said they were partners with Captain America, they'd be friends with the recent fella, yes.
How did you feel about John Walker? Because, we were talking about in the last episode, will he be a villain? Will he be a good guy? We kind of have some answers to that. Did you like him? Did you dislike him? What'd you think?
I think he's sincere. It's just that Falcon and Winter Soldier, well, Bucky and Sam, are just holding a grudge against him because he's not the same as their friend. And it's kind of like if you got married, your wife died, and then they got you a replacement. Like it's not the same, and it feels kind of artificial and forced. So I can understand that, and it's going to take some time to warm up to this new Captain America, or they'll just have to acknowledge that it'll just never be the same.
Yeah, I was too a little like taken aback by him because like I wanted to hate him. I really wanted to hate him, but I didn't. I thought he was fine. I thought he was a little douchey here and there, but like, looking at this dude, like, he had he had 2 awards, or 3. He had 3 awards. He threw the shield, and it looked really cool. And the way he saved Battlestar with his shield, that was straight up Cap. He did some stuff that was truly heroic. Do I think he's going to be the new Captain America? No, and I don't want that. But I do kind of like the idea of him not going full villain. I think he should like have a moment where he's against Sam and Bucky, and we should fully understand why he is. But don't make him a villain. Any other opinions on John Walker?
Well, I have one. Well, he doesn't appear to be a douchebag or even feels like he's got the weight of the world on his shoulders like Atlas, but I'm sorry about that. Just
That was a dog.
can you edit
Dog.
it out?
I'm sure Cal can get rid of that. You could just power
Okay.
through it. It's just a dog.
Let me continue. I'm sorry.
Okay.
But yeah, it's not that he didn't want the role of Captain America, but I think that even he doesn't see himself as Captain America.
I'm with you there. I think I don't know this actor super well. His name is Wyatt Russell. I believe he's Kurt Russell's kid.
Yep.
Really?
But I don't know him super well, so when I look in his eyes, I can't see as much. When I look at Sam, I can see all the hurt he's going through, especially when he meets Elijah. But with this new guy, he's very hard to read for me, and I don't know if he is fully a good dude. I look forward to discovering that.
In the comics, I've seen him done the horrible stuff, but at the same time done this good stuff because I've seen what he's done in the comics.
Yeah, he's a sleaze in the comics sometimes, but also eventually he becomes a hero. So I don't know, man. I just think it's a very interesting character to bring in. Anything you like about this episode, Jack?
Still on John Walker there. I don't. They're probably not going to do this, but I think it could be quite interesting if throughout the rest of this show, the rest of these 4 episodes left now, that John Walker does end up being our Captain America. I don't think they're going to do it. I'm not sure I'd be on board with it if they did, but playing a bit of devil's advocate, I think it could be quite interesting if we take it in the angle that Bucky and Sam are just sort of against this guy on principle that he isn't Steve, and we now spend the rest of the show with them coming around to the idea of someone else can be Captain America. This guy is a good person. They try to humanize him a bit throughout this episode. He seems to have a love interest. He's got Battlestar Galactica sidekick. They're starting to build him out a bit. In another world, I'd like to see another version of the show where they go down that route.
But
Don't think they will,
the thing.
but it's an interesting idea.
Well, here's the thing, though. That's actually the story of Spider-Verse. So we've seen this done before. And I think you're right, Jack. I think this absolutely could work if they did want to make him Captain America. The whole story of Spider-Verse is anybody can be Spider-Man. Why can't anyone be Captain America?
Into the Captain America verse!
But I feel like maybe at the end of the series, who knows, that he might know he's not up for the role of Captain America, might hand it up to maybe Sam or Bucky, yeah?
I think that as well. I'd like them to end on a good note between the 3 of them. I want them to be friends.
But I really think that Bucky, maybe giving it to Sam, proving it that he doesn't want to do it, it really should have been Bucky that should have gotten the shield.
Here's the thing. In my perfect ending, if I got my way, Captain America would be a title that's just shared now, and both of them get to be it. I think they are going the route of it's going to be Sam, which I'm okay with. I think Sam is from the beginning, I always liked Sam more than Bucky, although Bucky's really winning me over with this show. But I think Sam honestly deserves it more. Sam, in my opinion, is the better hero because I can't understate this enough. Almost every movie and any time we've seen Bucky besides this one time, he has been either an anti-hero or a villain.
But here's the thing. I'm fine with Sam getting a shield now because I really want, Bucky to take on the role of the White Wolf that he was given in Wakanda, because I feel like the show should be called Falcon and the White Wolf instead of Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Maybe it's Winter Soldier because with the Winter Soldier's dealing with his past and all of the trauma of that. But I feel like that maybe if they did another show with Bucky in it, he should definitely be called the White Wolf.
Perhaps White Wolves are indeed Winter Soldiers, but we'll have to see if Bucky's all bark and no
Yeah,
bites.
get Winter and White and Wolf.
You prepared that.
But I have one question. How did the Wakandans know of his Winter Soldier name? Did Bucky tell them?
But Steve probably
Well-
had to tell them when he brought him to Wakanda. You know?
Civil
But,
War post-credit scene.
But what you brought up there, Squid, you might be onto something. Because the name White Wolf was referenced in this episode. So maybe, like, this is the story of Falcon becoming Captain America. Maybe it's also the story of Bucky becoming White Wolf. I don't know.
Hope we
I
get
like
the
that
cool
idea.
costume to come with it.
That'd be cool. I mean, I'm all about Jack's idea of, like, at the end of this, John Walker not being an enemy. So I would love it if maybe the whole show is about people becoming things. Like, obviously, Helmet Zemo is going to become Baron Zemo. Bucky could become White Wolf, and this new Captain America, John Walker, could become U.S. Agent.
Yay! Bucky's yay!
I mean, I love Bucky in this show. I think Bucky's quickly, like, climbing the ladder of favorite MCU characters. Just based on how emotional Sebastian Stan is playing him in this.
I've always known that he had potential from back to Civil War when he got out of the, state of being the Winter Soldier. I kind of a bit me knew, and now seeing it here, or maybe I didn't, but I just feel like now I know that there's potential with this character, and I feel like maybe in future projects and future like stuff, they could probably give him more dignified role in the MCU.
I mean, I hope so, because if you look at most of Phase 3 and a good chunk of Phase 2, Bucky actually pushes a lot of the story forward. Winter Soldier is when the Hydra stuff happened. Civil War happened solely because of Bucky. I'm just saying, he has his fingerprints on a lot of this stuff.
But now it's time for his important role as a hero.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I really hope that's what the show is about. Like, I know that Kevin Feige said in the past a lot of these shows are not going to get a season 2. Specifically, like he said, WandaVision will probably not get one.
Makes sense.
But I really hope with all of my heart that, like, we just get more Bucky, because we know that these shows are important, but we haven't seen how they're going to affect the movies yet. So I don't want this to be like, here's Bucky and the new Captain America doing a side thing.
But
And then in the movies, here's what's actually happening.
Yeah.
Here's one thing. Sorry. But technically, since this whole year is going to be Phase 4 and next year is going to be Phase 5, maybe in Phase 6 or 5, Bucky will get his own movie. Or maybe Sam will take both to your movie.
Well,
I
Phase
don't
4
think we're
goes into
getting all
next
of
year.
Phase 4. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh, you're good, man. Multiverse of Madness is next year.
Ah.
And then we're
But
getting
I've heard that
Eternals
they're
and
doing
Shang-Chi.
entirely
We've got all
Phase
these
4
other
this
Phase
year.
4 films.
Mm-hmm. A lot of Phase 4 is this year. Like, a good chunk of the shows we know about will be this year. But there's still stuff coming next year. Like, the War Machine show is next year. I believe... I don't know if Spider-Man is going to be, like, December. Or
It's
early
currently
January?
slated December right now. Might be pushed
Oh,
back,
okay.
but currently December.
I guess
But before I forget, the date for Black Widow has been confirmed. July.
Yes, July 9th, I think it was. July 9th or 19th.
Something
I
like that.
wonder
Very
what
excited for that.
they can do with Black Widow in that movie.
Well, Thaddeus Thunderbolt Ross is supposed to be in that, and I believe he's also supposed to be in this series. So maybe there's some crossover there.
And maybe in the end credit scene of Black Widow, maybe he got a guy to slip like Hulk's serum, and then he literally got his own serum, and then
Look, I want him to turn into Red Hulk too, Squid, but it's not gonna happen in Black Widow.
no,
I promise
you don't need to show him turn into into Red Hulk. I'm sorry, they could just show him getting the serum and then end.
I don't know, man.
You could.
After credit scene, maybe it could be like, we got it. We got some of Bruce Banner's blood.
But unless
That's
Bruce
up.
Banner is in Black Widow, that just sort of come out of nowhere. I think.
Plot twist.
But here's the thing: how is Hulk gonna get angry again?
I don't know.
He stubs his toe. It's not difficult.
I mean, we know we're seeing Hulk again in She-Hulk, so.
Not the world in crisis. Not a love one.
Maybe Red Hulk will be Hulk, like I said, and maybe Hulk. Well, and in the comics, Hulk isn't always a raging person. He actually can be calm and quiet, and actually can be when he's not angry.
I mean, surely.
I actually read one time in Infinity Gauntlet where actually Wolverine went to talk with Hulk about, him being accepted into this role of helping everyone save the entire universe from Thanos.
Yeah, Earth's Mightiest Heroes, the animated series, plays with that. Cal?
Last time we saw Hulk in the MCU, he managed to achieve a mixture of Bruce Banner and Hulk, where he's just permanently in his Hulk form, but he has the mind and ego of Bruce Banner.
Professor Hulk.
Hey.
Real fast though, just to get back onto Winter Soldier and Falcon.
Yeah.
Now, guys, in the last episode, I made a joke, and it was based on comic facts, and I made this joke. But now I'm going to convert this joke into an actual prediction. We all remember Torres from the last episode.
I knew you'd bring this up, yeah.
And how I mentioned that in the comics, he turns into a half-man, half-falcon.
What?
Well, the guy who turns him into a half-man, half-falcon is named the Power Broker. And the Flag Smashers referenced him in this episode. So I'm just going to say it.
I'm sorry to shoot you down, but
I'm predicting it now.
Since Red Wing wasn't an actual Falcon like he is in the comics, I don't think they're going to go with that.
I'm saying, what if, hear me out, what if they go to Madripoor, they meet the Power Broker, and the Power Broker is experimenting on animals, and we get a real Red Wing? They could do that, but I'm making the prediction right now. This is the new Mephisto. That man's going to become a bird.
The devil is a
dude. I heard a lot of people say that the MCU is normie and it's very formulaic, but I don't agree with that. But a lot of general audience watches these shows in the MCU, so I don't think that they're gonna go with this.
I want to remind you, there's a talking raccoon and tree in space. That dude can become a bird.
I was going to say, did you even watch WandaVision? It was...
I know, but I'm just saying...
That dude's becoming a bird. Last episode, next episode, I don't care. It's happening. I'm predicting it.
Yeah, there's going to be sorcerers and aliens and androids too.
You just wait.
Okay,
you just wait, Callum.
I listened...
Callum, when that man becomes a bird, I want a personal apology from you.
What?
And
did I make the option?
Yes. Yes, you are my enemy now. We are fighting.
I need a personal apology to you?
No, it's fine. I will personally apologize to Callum if not. But that man's becoming a bird. I swear to
people
God.
Tune in next time to see what
you want to know something? I know that the MCU can emit the comics, but I feel like the purest form of comics that can actually be done is through 2D animation. And with the DC animated movies, I feel like that they can actually bring the comics to life in a pure way. I've seen some Marvel movies, they done it well, but there's not a very much variety of them. I just wish, because they too much focus on the MCU.
Here's the thing. And I say this as an avid reader of comics, somebody who like wasted so much of his life on these things. When I saw them walk up to that house, and when I saw the actor, I knew that was Isaiah Bradley. I knew just from his face that that was the Captain America that history forgot. And while I think you could probably portray that in animation, just seeing that broken man and his amazing acting, it blew me away. Like, there is so much mythos in his performance there, where you know exactly what happened to this dude and why he's hurting as he stares down this guy who came into his house, who is his enemy, but like is presenting himself as a friend.
Mr. Isaiah, yes.
For those of you out there who have not seen the episode or don't know, Isaiah Bradley is a very popular character right now. He was the African-American Captain America that history forgot.
Yeah.
He was imprisoned. And his story is honestly one of tragedy. He has a grandson who we also see in this episode, Elijah, or Eli Bradley, who is probably going to be in Young Avengers. So that's cool too. But yeah, I think
every person who's born under a superhero have to be a Young Avenger?
Yes.
Yes.
That's how comic books work, everyone.
Bucky, 104 years old, to cryogenic stasis. Get him in the Young Avengers, now!
Jack, I'm pretty sure I heard you trying to speak a minute ago. You have anything to add about stuff you liked?
A few things I liked, yeah, but just continuing down that Isaiah Bradley line of thought there. That's a character I am completely unfamiliar with. I just did a rudimentary quick look on Google, typed in Isaiah Bradley, see what come up. And the Marvel Wiki literally just says, the Black Captain America. So I prefer he's the Captain America that time and history forgot and stuff. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with him, because I feel like it'd be an absolute waste to have just had him, he's going to stay in this house all season.
I recommend you watching Key Issues, which I get most of my comic book info from, to see more on Isaiah Bradley.
Yeah, Isaiah Bradley is a great character. I mostly know him because of his grandson Eli. And admittedly, here's my bias showing again. I mostly know about Eli because he happened to be in the same story as Kate Bishop Hawkeye.
Okay.
But yeah, essentially, after Captain America went on, the government experimented on people to try to make the super soldier again. While Captain America was frozen, Elijah Bradley was the only success.
And then they kidnapped some children, took them out of space. One of them was John 117, and he became Master Chief.
That is not what happened. Well,
Not
essentially what happened is, and obviously, like, the show is dealing with things like this, the government didn't want an African-American Captain America, so the way they dealt with it is they arrested him pretty much for no reason, experimented on him constantly, and tried to reproduce the super soldier serum. Whoa. Eventually he did get out, but he has a huge chip on his shoulder because of it. And I am so ready to see this on the big screen, dude. You have no idea. This is such an interesting story.
I think the way that we're going to connect him back in with the story for the rest of the show is, like you said, they derived more super soldier serum from the success with him. And we have the Flag Smashers, who some of them are seemingly enhanced, so we're talking about them being super soldiers, and the Power Broker, what's going on with him. I think perhaps they got their hands on some of the stuff that they managed to create from Isaiah. I'm looking forward to seeing what they do with him. I'm not wanting a flashback sequence or anything to his time in service, because just the scene of him just talking about it was so
Sorry,
well
my
done.
lips. I'm going through something right now. I'm just.
I mean,
That's all right.
I absolutely agree with you. I think that I'd like to see his costume, just because that's the kind of nerd I am. But I agree. I just want him to sit down with Sam and tell him a story of his time as Captain America, and I could watch that for hours.
Yeah, but here's one thing. I have one question. What is for all of you? What is the most interesting comic book from Marvel that you have ever seen?
How about we do that as the question to end this off on? Let's keep talking about the actual episode. We're
Good idea.
Yep.
gives everyone time to think about it as well.
Oh yeah, I'm going to be thinking about it the entire time we do this. But Jack,
other
you
things I
brought up
liked
other
in this
notes?
episode.
Yeah, go ahead.
What did everyone think of the big three? Your aliens, androids, and wizards.
Don't you mean sorcerers?
Sorcerers.
I really liked that
about
joke
hats.
that it set up Falcon and Bucky are talking. Sorry, yeah, Sam and Bucky are talking about it, and then later in the episode, John then comes in and uses the term "the big three" again. It's like, yeah, no, this is a thing. People talk about this.
I kind of did that thing in my head that everyone seems to be doing, where I double taked and was like, "Have they ever fought a wizard?" I guess they're talking about Loki.
Loki.
Yeah.
Loki isn't a wizard; he's a demigod. And technically, even Odin said they're not gods. They're born, they live, they die. They're just very powerful beings.
He's still using magic.
He's using magic that he learned from his mom, which he learned from the witches. So I think it counts.
Probably.
There's all the other witches. There's Doctor Strange. There's Jadis, the White Witch from Narnia, who educated Doctor Strange.
I mean, Doctor Strange, they didn't fight Doctor Strange, though,
The Guardians did.
I find Bucky's accusations strange because we literally had an entire epic final battle where pretty much everyone emerged from poor turtles, and he was fighting aliens alongside Strange and Wanda.
Yeah, but his big argument is, first of all, he's saying they aren't wizards, they're sorcerers and witches. And also, he wasn't fighting them. And Sam was like, whenever we fight people, it's either an android, an alien, or a wizard.
Ebony Maw. He's an alien and a wizard.
I mean...
That's like crossing the streams.
But here's the thing. I'm sorry about earlier when I said about casual fans and what they think of way too weird. I don't think it's, because I want to see that guy turn to a giant falcon.
I too want to see that man turn into a Birdman.
I think it's a genuine concern. It's a perfectly fair thought that Marvel, Disney are making these shows. Yes, for the diehard fans who, unlike me, would recognize Isaiah Bradley. Well done, Neil. But you have to think about the general audience as well. Disney still are a company, their business, they ultimately want to make a profit on this. So they want it to be appealing to the widest demographics possible.
They got to make those toys, though.
Yeah, a lot more stuff away in both manga, anime, and those DC anime movies. They're direct comic adaptations.
Dude, animated movies are great. This MCU shit, though. This is mine.
Say one more thing about Falcon Man. They've taken creative liberties with certain characters in the past. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if either they did have a literal Falcon Man true to the comics, or at this point, judging by your descriptions, or if they twisted it a little bit. It's like, he has certain genetic engineering, so now he has falcon wings on his back, and he has enhanced talons on his fingers and toes. That sort of thing.
I'm telling you right now, I'm predicting it. They're going to team up with the Flag Smashers, go after Power Broker. Then Taurus is going to get captured. And next time we see him, in this episode or something else, he will be a Falcon Man.
Chris,
But
that
I
kinda
have one
You
thing
heard it
to
here
say.
first, folks.
It'll have some
That
serious
kinda-
cyborg issues.
I want him. I don't want him to be comfortable with being a Falcon Man. I just want him to be a Falcon Man. That'd be weird. But I was curious because Callum is our admitted not a comic nerd, and also Jack just said himself, he doesn't know a ton about Elijah Bradley. What do you guys think about the fact that they're introducing this character that is essentially a second Captain America that we have never seen beforehand? Does it feel like retconning, or do you think it makes sense?
Well, I mean, we never saw him in the movies, but they established a very obvious and clear reason as to why we didn't see him and why he was erased from the history books. So, retcon? Hard to say. I don't think this is a retcon. I think they've managed to.
Well, it's not really retcon because it was in the comics.
The comics are different from the show. It's not a retcon because they didn't change anything. It's more, yep, he's just been here the whole time. You haven't seen or heard from him because the government kept it under wraps. It's sort of burying. It's, as a Scotsman looking at America from the outside, it's sort of America's done some shady things in the past.
We still do that today.
Unfortunately.
Wah,
I
wah,
think
wah.
Britain as well. Bristol's having some riots right now, but
Yeah, Jack,
no,
at the
there's a
same
lot
time.
of, it can. I don't think it's a bad thing introducing him here.
Like, I agree. I don't think it's a bad thing to introduce him. I was just so curious when they showed him because, like, for the longest time until Patriot came around, Isaiah Bradley was kind of deep lore. Like, he showed up for a couple things, and he wasn't like a huge character, but like, the stories they told with him were heavy hitting. I just think it's so interesting to bring that character in because the MCU has been critiqued for not being serious at times. And this feels like a very serious move. Like, we get that one scene where there is a cop that is absolutely judging Sam because of the color of his skin. We get this whole character who was a hero, who fought the Winter Soldier back when he was evil and won, and still got erased from history. They are telling a very deep and serious story here, and I am all about it.
Yes, I agree, but I have one thing to say. One critique I got from a friend is that it's from Charlie, and he said that Marvel doesn't have balls. DC does, because they can actually do our stuff, and
I mean,
Charlie Brooks and I were watching the Zack Snyder's Justice League, so I could see why he was saying that.
although I gotta say, like, with this specific storyline, I think Marvel's proving that they definitely have guts too.
Yeah.
But with that, once again, anything else you guys feel like we should discuss? Cal, you've been a little silent, and I know Jack's got more notes.
Okay, so we mentioned some crucial moments. I suppose I should mention a few other crucial moments. One of them being another awesome chase scene, this time within and on top of trucks. We got some great banter back and forth between Bucky and Falcon. It actually goes all the way back to them going on the plane. Falcon says, "No, you're not coming with me. I can do this all alone." But Bucky insists on coming with them and almost kills himself jumping off the plane. And Bucky, I know you're trying to replicate Steve Rogers, but you're not Steve. Of course, you're gonna hurt your back when you land on the ground. And even Falcon arrives on the camera. I could see you the whole time. You know that.
Wait. Also, I have one question. Since he survived that, did they find a way to replicate the super soldier serum in Bucky?
Hydra did, yes.
Yeah.
Just like in the
Okay.
comics.
Back in Civil War, when they were talking about that, one of the things Steve tried to say to Tony to get him to join their side was, yes, he's a super soldier, and there are 6 more just like him. Please, help us.
Oh, I feel such an idiot. I'm sorry, my brain's not
No, you're
working
good.
properly.
No, you're good, man. You're good.
All right. I know you know more than me, Brooks. So I'm a noob at this. So Bucky and Sam, they chase after these people. One of them's a hostage. I like how he goes inside. He's like, oh, the one's freckly, cute-haired face. Oh, she's fine. The moment I spot, I was like, run! and then she punches him, and then she wasn't a hostage. It was part of the plan all along. And then big epic fight on top of the cars, and Bucky's clinging on for dear life.
All right, Winter Soldier, the Falcon will strike. We will. Yeah, that's pretty much how it went down in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Fight on, Falcon! He was watch out for the billboard, Captain Falcon.
The soldier was still alive outside. Not a hostage here! Until they fight, Captain America arrives. Look at that Falconman. Like drunk dolls trying to fight each other. Yeah, okay. I know you're gonna sniff you out.
And then the soldiers win. That's pretty much how it went with Falcon and Winter Soldier.
With both
But
his
I have
arms.
one thing. I have one thing to say about the Flag Smashers. They actually feel like they're actually the heroes. They're actually doing the right thing. And, they're actually, genuinely good people. And when one of them dies, when someone dies, the other person feels bad for him and cries.
Oh, yeah. He was like a martyr for them as they were getting away on the planes, yes.
Yeah, I think that's the reveal here. I think that, at first we thought, because let's be real, last episode a dude just robbed a bank. What were we supposed to think? But with this episode, they stole medicine. And I'm wondering why. It seems like they're trying to do something. I don't necessarily agree with them because they're like, oh, the government cares about the people who disappeared more when they should care about us. And in my head, I'm like, dude, that's bad thinking.
Yeah.
Don't go down that path. But I do understand, they took medicine. They're trying to help somebody. They stole from the power broker, meaning they didn't steal from normal hospitals. They're not hurting people.
But I have one question. No, I have a question. Who are they stealing medicine for? Is it some big comic character or someone that we haven't seen before?
Or is it for themselves?
Or it could be... No, wait, no, that was stupid. No, maybe... No. I was gonna say Armin Zola maybe had a backup. Nope, that's stupid.
That could happen. I would love to see Armin Zola come back, but I don't think he'd need medicine because he's a computer.
I know, that's why I said it's stupid.
But what if he gets a virus?
That would be funny.
But I have one question. Is Hydra still active, or is it dead? It was active way after Winter Soldier in Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which is canon. But then it seemed like it was disbanded in that show, and by the way, I want to just mention one thing. If you haven't seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., Ghost Rider in that show was so awesome. I mean, I absolutely love the design and love how it come to life. And I hope he's in Doctor Strange Multiverse of Madness. He has to be.
Well, real fast, they did actually confirm with the Darkhold in WandaVision, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. is no longer canon. But, to go on what you were saying about the medicine, I think that maybe... Okay, I have one theory about it, and I'll admit this is a little nuts, but I'll say it anyways. I think that's my cat. I think that maybe. So you know how I mentioned that there were like 30 other people that were experimented on with Isaiah?
Mm-hmm.
What if these are like their kids? Like, what if they did survive? They like didn't show any traits of it or anything, and then it just passed on. I don't know. It would be an interesting take because they did question Isaiah, and then Isaiah mentioned Hydra. So I guess we're going to discover something here. But
so let me
maybe
get this straight: 30 people with super soldier serum.
in the comics, it's 30 people were tested on. Only Isaiah lived, but they could change that to 30 people were tested on. It only worked on Isaiah, but then maybe it passed down to their kids or something. Again, this is a nutball
Hereditary.
I could see that, but picking up on what you said last time, Neil, I actively looked for it this time round. In the credits, they do show these little blue vials of something, and that's the color that the super soldier serum was in the first Avenger. It was this blue stuff that was all on the side of the pods and everything that was injected into Steve. So I think it's more likely they're getting their powers from those that they get from the power broker that he got through some chain of events from Isaiah, perhaps, if he's tied in with Hydra. I don't know. I don't think that they're going to be his kids. That is, I do like that idea. If that's true, I was going to say I'll pay you something, but I'm not going to.
I don't want your money. Just shave your head.
I'd rather give you money.
Nah, you're good, dude. I would never destroy that beautiful hair.
Cheers.
I agree with you. I think it is very far-fetched, but part of me wonders because, like, you know, they do show that capsule, and they even show like the power broker thing on top of it. It's possible it's not their kids at all. They could just be like taking drugs, but I gotta wonder because they seem to have a serious stake in this, a serious hate of the government. And, you know, I have to imagine that what happened to Isaiah probably would have happened to these other people too. So I don't know. Maybe.
Okay, is that all we have for today?
No.
We could mention.
Keep going for a while.
The psychiatry scene.
Yeah, I like that scene a lot. Specifically, like, you know, obviously there's some good goofs during it, good jokes. Man, when Bucky broke down, my heart felt for him. Like when he was saying, "No, you don't understand. If Steve was wrong about you, then he was wrong about me, and I can't redeem myself." It just shows like how highly Bucky sees Sam, because in my head, Bucky probably did actually have some respect for Sam, and like it's coming out here because he was like, "Yeah, no, you were the right choice. You were. I thought it too. And if it turns out that me and Steve were wrong, what does that say about either of our judgment?" I don't know. I just love Sebastian Stan in this. He's finally got a chance to shine, and he's taking it. What do you guys think?
I think, I could be wrong, psychiatrist might just appear in every single episode just to see how little old Bucky is getting along, just like that psychiatrist from Until Dawn or something.
I could see that.
I'd like that. I like her.
Yeah.
And I like that we're tying her in with
the
new Cap a little bit as well.
Oh, yeah. She knew John Walker. So maybe, like, I don't know if she's a comic book character, but maybe she'll end up giving therapy to him later. I don't know. A lot of story beats we can sort of pull on. You know, a therapist here, a maskless Zemo here, a man who will clearly become a Falcon.
But I have one thing to say about Zemo. They better make him into a great villain.
I
Are you
mean,
saying he's not already?
I mean, he was, but I mean, I'm just saying that, give him his time to shine. I mean, he did do a lot in Civil War, but I feel like that he needed more character. He needed more flair, like his comic book self.
now
Let's
he's
talk
got that
about
mask.
Zemo. Let's talk about Zemo for a while. Because he not as powerful as other villains, but he's a villain that definitely made an impact. You can tell that what the Avengers do has consequences, even back to Age of Ultron, and as a result, this man's acting out on the Avengers in anger, and he set up a series of events specifically to, as Tony Stark would say, piss off every single one of them. And he got them to fight each other, met up at a base, just specifically to see Bucky and Captain America fight Tony Stark, only for Black Panther, may Chadwick Boseman rest in peace, apprehend him and then take him to the prison. And the Martin Freeman character got up to him and said, "How does it feel like seeing every part of your plan fall to pieces?"
And he is like, nope, it went accordingly to plan.
He says to him, "Did it?" So, I don't know. Looking back now, I don't know if there were other hints of this impact that the villain hinted at throughout from Civil War. It's still one of my favorite Marvel movies. But maybe this more cunning than we think aspect might
I
come
have
into play.
one thing to say. He did a bigger impact on our heroes more than Heath Ledger's Joker did.
I mean, Heath Ledger's Joker is in the MCU, not in the MCU. So
No,
I'd be
I'm
very
talking about
surprised.
compared to what he did. Because Baron Zemo split apart the Avengers, which gave Thanos the upper hand, and then basically, so he could basically take them all down.
And
I
that's
mean, the
good.
Avengers could have still won, but they wouldn't have won together. But at the same time, they still would have lost.
It's interesting that you bring it up because to me, I was going to say this anyways. I think he is the Heath Ledger Joker of the MCU because there is a comparison here. Heath Ledger Joker in that movie is like, okay, what I'm going to do, I'm going to corrupt Harvey Dent. I'm going to drive the commissioner nuts. That's the one part he failed at. And I'm going to get Batman off the streets for you guys.
Okay,
And
one
he
thing.
does
If you want to drive
pretty much all of that with a great plan. I think that Zemo did something very similar. He was like, I'm going to make these heroes destroy each other. And he executed his plan flawlessly. There were some hiccups along the way, but he got it done. And we're still feeling the impact. Like in Dark Knight Returns, Batman's been gone for years. In this movie, the Avengers are still not a fully back together team.
But here's the thing. Ultron was trying to do the same thing with Wanda, tear them apart from the inside. But I think that he kind of laid the foundations for Zemo.
I mean, it's definitely possible. I think, like, whenever I see the trailer and I see Zemo say, "Did you really think I was going to leave my work unfinished?" I just get so hyped.
Yeah, what is he going to do?
I get excited for the fact that he's like, "Oh no, we're not done. You guys aren't disbanded. I'm coming back." And
Wait, I have one question. Is he going to be like the overhaul of the MCU where he wants to fight against all superpowered individuals?
that does seem to be where he's going. He literally says in the trailer, superheroes are not something that I will allow to exist.
And they both have
points.
Yes,
well,
Jeff.
last week we all guessed that Zemo was somehow behind the scenes puppeteering the Flag Smashers in some way. But from the looks of it, he's still in that same cell from the end of Civil War. So I'm wondering, has he, in a Kingpin way, been in prison and somehow manipulating things out with that jail? Or are Sam and Bucky, potentially Cap and Bucky down the line, going to end up having to break him out or something if, the US government or whoever's holding Zemo aren't going to let them in? Are they going to be responsible for unleashing Zemo upon the world and getting him out there again?
I have one question.
I have a. Well, ask your question after we answer Jack's question, Squid. I do think that Jack, I do think that you're onto something here, but I also had like a flashback to Civil War, specifically when the whole plan seemed to be Zemo is going to get these Winter Soldiers and he's going to make them attack people. He's going to kill people with these warriors.
Yeah.
And that wasn't the plan.
The plan was to show a video.
He has anything to do with the Flag Smashers. I think he's going to come in, get involved. He's going to meet this power broker. He's going to use him, and he's going to become the main villain. But I think he has nothing to do with the story yet. And I honestly find that super interesting.
But we need more time for him, because it's not a lot of episodes. And I have one question. What was the point of the Netflix and the Hulu shows if we're doing these shows? What's the point? And why, if they're Marvel characters, then why even waste time not having them in the MCU when we can have them in the MCU? Why waste time on these shows when you could already just put them in the MCU?
Because they were really, well, some of them were really good shows.
I know.
And some guy in an office somewhere said they don't count. So.
Yep. I mean, Kevin, I wish I could give you an in-universe explanation. Kevin Feige wasn't involved with those series. He doesn't want them in the MCU. That's just what it is.
Your in-universe explanation is there's a multiverse. Those are just occurring in parallel universes that might get tied in down the line, might not.
You still have those shows, though.
Even the Disney version of Daredevil counts. Ha-ha!
Yes.
And also, that's way for the X-Men and Fantastic Four.
I mean, we'll see what becomes of the long-term MCU, but honestly, and Cal actually brought this up in the last video, and he was so right. It seems that the way they're dealing with these shows is not to go bigger, but to go a little bit more in depth, like to dig a little bit deeper into these characters. Like, we're properly getting into like character study potential, where it's like, okay, what if there was this other Captain America? How would that affect Sam? What if Bucky was having trauma after his life as the Winter Soldier? I love digging into these characters' personalities, and honestly,
also, this is a good way for the MCU to be seen more instead of what some people see it as. And see it, it can be something more instead of some normie or like what Martin Scorsese said as a roller coaster or a amusement park,
a theme
that you
park
watch.
movie. I mean, I don't hold a lot of stock in what Martin Scorsese said. I do, just to give him a little bit of compliment, I do agree that these movies make me feel good. I agree with that. But I gotta be real. I feel like this show is the argument to that, where it's like these shows aren't deep. They aren't saying something important. Look at this scene with Isaiah. Look at Wanda as she is giving up her perfect world and is looking into a face that she loves while he fades away. Look at just all of these amazing stories. And the fact that, we've only had, in total, 11 episodes of Marvel TV. And to me, it has been amazing all around. When we go to rate... Spoiler alert, but I'll be rating this episode highly, too.
I don't think we're going to see Mephisto anytime soon, which I was looking forward to seeing him in the WandaVision. But since the MCU doesn't want to go religious like the comics does, I feel like that they probably don't want Mephisto to be in the MCU.
Yeah, Disney's fanfiction.net. Yeah.
On a somewhat unrelated note,
Disney's having some trouble.
We lost Red Wing this episode.
We did.
Redwing?
Redwing
Oh,
was
yes.
ripped in half.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, look, I like that girl. I like her character. I like her actor. I like that she has freckles. This is weird for me because there's like no actors in movies ever that have freckles. I always like, it's such a rarity to see for me. So
I've
I
been
like
watching
her.
Lost recently, and
They
Evangeline
want
Lilly
their
is one of the main
character
characters in that,
actors to
and
look
she's
beautiful.
Hope Van Dyne. She's known for the freckles in that show.
hmm I mean, I just like freckles, dude. But when she killed Redwing, she was dead to me. I'm done with her. I'm sorry. I love you. I love your freckles. Sam's got to kill you now.
It did make me think, though, losing Redwing means that spot on, the back of his wing pack, where Redwing always comes out, that's now a vacant spot. That's where you can put the shield, and we're not going to have a problem of needing to take off the shield every time you want to take out Redwing.
Or potentially, if my theory is correct, and they do go to see the Breaker, maybe we replace Redwing with a real Falcon.
Which I'd be on board with.
Which I would love to see.
Having a Falcon?
Yeah, so
He is.
in the comics, Redwing is an actual bird.
Nice.
That
And
Sam
actually,
has a psychic connection with.
He's a telepathic connection to Falcon.
Did he become a
Nice.
zombie bird at some point as well?
A vampire bird. It was weird.
Vampire bird, that was it. Maybe in Blade
Weirdly
we'll get
enough,
that,
a lot of people become vampires in the MCU. Jubilee from X-Men is a vampire right now.
What the fuck?
Given her
Okay.
power set, that sounds like a terrible idea.
Oh yeah.
Wait, so you're telling me, whilst almost everyone in the MCU is Team Edward, Bucky is Team Jacob?
You know what? That's actually very fitting because Bucky, Cap, and Sam all become werewolves in the comics.
What?
That's not even a joke. Look it up.
Immortality becomes them.
Not even kidding. Part of me kind of has the smallest of theories that Sam might become a werewolf. I don't
In
know.
this show?
If he's experimenting on animals and we see Redwing, maybe Sam gets bit by a wolf. I don't know.
Spoilers.
It's gonna be
Sam
Dracula
becomes
and
Falcon Man.
Wait, what about Morbius?
Look,
Every
if
time.
we're
That's
gonna,
a whole other
if
can of
we're gonna
worms.
get crazy and we're gonna have a half bird, half man, let's get crazy. Let's have werewolf Captain America in London.
Let's have Sam the Were-Falcon.
Ah, woo, baby. All
All
right, I think we're ready. Do we have any more final thoughts or notes
I'm
before we
good.
get into rankings?
I'm good.
Not really.
Everyone
no.
else? I have poured my heart about this episode. There is nothing left to pour. Calvin, do you have anything?
Were-Falcon.
All right, so let's go into rankings between 1 and 10. Let's start with Jack this time, and then we'll go into the final question.
Okay. Here's the thing. I gave last week's episode a 5. I thought it was all right.
It was a 5.
It didn't grab me, but it wasn't terrible either. This episode, I don't know if I'm just more of a cynic, but I'm also going to give this episode a 5.
Ooh.
Going into this, I was going to give it a 4. But having had the chance to talk it out with you guys, it's bumped up a little for me. There were moments here that I thought were a bit too slow. Like, the scene with the therapist was good towards the end, but it needed to pick up the momentum. There were a few, Bucky's arrested, and we go to prison, and we're out again in 10 minutes. You could have cut that whole bit. That was a bit of character building there, but you could have done that while still moving the story along. I have some issues with it.
That's
Still like it,
thing.
but I'm giving it a 5 for now.
Something I like
All
about
right.
it, Jack, is you can go through the whole show. You can talk about stuff you like. You can really support it. And then at the end, you're like, and here is my fair judgment.
Yeah.
I like that about you.
I was talking about this with one of my flatmates earlier today, and I think it'll be really interesting to talk about as an idea, and I'd love to talk it through once we get to the final episode of this. Depending on how well-paced the rest of the show is, I wonder how viable it would have been to have done this as a movie instead. You cut out all the slow bits, some slight rewrites. You could have done this as a movie. We're only on episode 2 right now. It's just
I agree.
just an
Could've
idea we were
done as
talking
a
about.
movie,
We'll see
yeah.
what happens, if it's going to be more action packed, if it's going to be more tightly packed in the later episodes. But I don't know.
That's an interesting case because, you know, I find something funny as of late. Some series that ought to be movies are being displayed, but then movies that ought to be miniseries, Zack Snyder's Justice League, is like a 4-hour movie, something like
But
that.
you could say the MCU is just a long-running TV show.
Yeah, that's also
Yeah.
a way to say it. But here's the thing. I am in a opposite and yet very similar boat to Jack. Because much like last week, I was really feeling the first episode. I was all about it. I was all about this episode too. I was honestly shocked that I felt the same. I honestly, I don't want to be that guy, but I sat down, I thought about it, and I was like, okay, well, maybe I give it like a 7. Some of the jokes didn't work. But then I keep thinking about Isaiah. I keep thinking about these things I never thought I would see in a Marvel movie. I keep thinking about how, as me, the comic book fan, am really feeling compelled by seeing these characters I know come in. And I gotta be real, y'all. I'm giving it an 8.5 again. I, once again, think that this show is great. I do want to explain how my scale works. For me, a 5 is average. A 6 is, okay, pretty good. A 7 is, yeah, it was good. And 8 was, oh, this was great. This was really good. So an 8.5 is right before 9, which would be like, oh, this is excellent. I think this show can improve. I see that there are improvements. But I didn't expect to feel the emotions this show is making me feel. I thought this was going to be a fun little side mission. Sort of like how I felt when watching Winter Soldier. I thought, oh, okay, I'll go see the Cat movie waiting for Avengers. It was great, and this is great for me too. So, yeah, give it an 8.5. Again.
Okay, I'm just gonna rank this as a 7. Just that.
7, I feel like, is a fair rating. Any reason for your 7?
No, just 7.
Okay.
No? All right. Callum, your turn.
As for me, it was hard to pick a definitive rating because, on the one hand, it's still kind of building up and stuff, but on the other hand, there's still some really good stuff in here, like Isaiah and character building and fun action sequences. I could give this a 7, but you know what? I'm going to give this a 7.5. Why? They reference The Hobbit. That's bonus points in my eyes.
They did reference The Hobbit. They even gave the exact day The Hobbit came out. And apparently Bucky's a Hobbit guy.
Bucky read it when
Lord
Tolkien...
of the Rings movies.
I wonder if he's
I
seen
think
it.
it had to be a little bit of fan service, but it was good fun fan service.
What does Bucky think of the Hobbit trilogy?
I don't know, dude. I'd love
Do you
to
think
sit
he's
down
seen
with
it
these
yet?
fictional characters. I mean, he's been pretty busy.
I can also see him be the sort of guy that's... I've read it. I don't need to see the movie.
I mean, I noticed he has a TV in his apartment. He's watching something. He saw the news. I don't know.
All right, that's us with giving this episode a 28 out of 40.
Thank you for counting.
Take a note.
Honestly, I feel like the situation is, like, with me specifically, like, I'm trying to be critical here. Like, I'm looking at it and I'm like, all right, hate this. And I can't. There's just so much where I'm like, even the little scenes with some of the jokes that don't really work for me still add to the characters for me. Like, specifically when Sam is like, oh, I'm trying to look in that cyborg brain of yours. I didn't think that was funny, but I thought the fact that, like, he's picking on Sam was, like, Bucky was interesting. I don't know.
It's a little like seeing zookeepers with, like, a python or some massive snake. It's like, don't piss him off. Don't piss him off. But he's comfortable enough around this dangerous creature that he knows when to stop poking it.
It honestly feels like he's a cat about to push over the flower pot. And you're like,
Hey,
don't do that.
If Bucky's a
But he
cat,
doesn't.
then Sam's a dog.
I mean,
That's what,
Bucky is a falcon squid?
No,
No.
Bucky is a wolf. Sam is a falcon. Come on.
Just make that comparison.
Badass.
Sam is a cat falcon, and Bucky is a wolf cat.
And I
Red
guess
Wing
the
is a
final
robot
question-
falcon, and Torres is a human falcon.
Wait, no, I said Sam the cat and the falcon. No, I meant to say dog and falcon.
You know, fun fact, this actually has nothing to do with anything, but in the same universe as Spider-Ham, Baron Zemo is a zebra.
What?
Nice.
What?
Yeah. Just thought I'd bring that up since everyone else gets to be animals.
A
Oh,
zebra.
but real
I'm
fast.
Googling that now. I need to see that.
It looks derpy. We're going into our final question, which I believe was, I was going to make it, what animal would you be? But I think it is, what is a Marvel comic you really relate to? I will pick Hawkeye, My Life as a Weapon. Yeah, surprise, surprise. Neil picked a Hawkeye comic. I just think it's a great portrayal of the character. It seems to be what the show is going to be based on. And it's funny as hell, but it starts off by, like, having these really humanizing moments with the character, where he's still, like, the asshole who's good-hearted that we fell in love with, but, like, you know, we see him get into some trouble with, like, a mafia, and he just tries to save this one dog, and how human he is when he's just screaming that he'll pay anything to save this dog. He's texting Tony and asking for money. He's just actively trying to be this good person we already know he is. And I love it. Along with other things about that comic, it's great. I just don't want to spoil it. All I talked about was the first issue.
Well,
Anyone else got comics?
I was the one. No, since I was the one who first brought it up, maybe I should go. But I
sure.
think that I haven't read that much interesting.
Well,
comics.
repeat the question for Jack.
What is the most interesting comic book you've ever read, or what's your most favorite comic? But here's the thing: Infinity Gauntlet is probably my favorite comic right now because it's the most grand and epic. But it's not the most interesting, but it's interesting in that way. But I really want to read more interesting stuff, like, you know, maybe some more X-Men comics, or maybe even DC Final Crisis, which I heard is so complex that a lot of people won't even get it. Which I'm a very complex person. I feel like I can get it. Challenge me.
Well, then I guess my answer to that one is, I'll keep it MCU because we're talking about MCU. Is Unbelievable Gwenpool. For those of you who don't know, Gwenpool is essentially the Spider-Gwen Deadpool equivalent. But in this story, she's very interesting Her superpower is she is from our world. She is from the world that you and me are living in right now, and she got transformed into the comic book world, and she's a huge comic book fan. So she knows everybody's secret identity. She knows everybody's weaknesses. And if you think that's interesting, they do so much more with the fourth wall breaking. It's unbelievable. They take this story that you couldn't tell with Deadpool, and they tell it about a girl maturing, about when her comic gets canceled, and how she has to deal with fading into obscurity. It is such a touching story. And it's so interesting to see how they play with the fourth wall stuff, with the jokes, and with the character of Gwenpool. I love it.
There is the danger with Gwenpool. The initial run sticks to that, but there is the danger with some of the later, more recent stuff that it's veering a bit more into the female Deadpool category.
Yeah.
I hope we get it revitalized a bit.
I agree with you so much, Jack. It's, as soon as Unbelievable left Gwenpool, she became Lady Deadpool, and that's fine.
Who's a different character that already exists.
SJWs.
Well, this one story, Unbelievable Gwenpool, it lives up to the name, guys. It's unbelievable. Callum, I want to hear your favorite comic. I'm sure you have one.
To put to your surprise, I actually do. This
Is it Tintin? If
Tintin was part of the Marvel lineup, then sure, I'd pick that. I actually have the whole Tintin collection, me and my dad. Marvel stuff. Groot. This is a collection I found at a bookstore, and I looked into it. It was a fun adventure, but right at the end, Groot is with the X-Men, and Jean is able to read Groot's thoughts, and Groot's speaking. He's not just saying "I am Groot." He's actually saying lots of things in his head. And apparently, the reason he went on this whole adventure was because long ago he rescued this little girl from his own home planet. He knew it was wrong, morally wrong, so he stood up for her and helped her to escape. And now he went on this journey to try to find her again, which, according to this story, eventually he does. Except she's an elder person now, and it's a really sweet ending.
That I haven't read that one. That sounds really cool to me.
Yeah, it does.
Here's what it's like.
I recognize the cover, but I've not.
It's a fun adventure. Don't expect anything too big, but the ending is really sweet.
You got anything for us, Jack, to end us off?
Well, Attack on Titan doesn't really count.
If you want, it can count.
If we're wanting to stick with the Avengers Marvel-y stuff, there is Attack on Avengers, where's the Avengers fighting Titans from it. But no, I'm more reading manga at the moment. I've been reading Promised Neverland, My Hero Academia, Vigilantes. It's probably one of my favorites at the moment. It's ongoing. Main character is a college student struggling with college student stuff and also the world of My Hero Academia. But giving those a shout out. Marvel-wise, I'm running through my head, and I don't want to say it, but it's the one that keeps popping up in there. Deadpool Kills the Marvel Universe, specifically the follow-up Deadpool Killustrated.
But I have one thing to say. I have read
that one's
Vigilantes.
so good, though.
Deadpool Killustrated is after Deadpool has, in the previous series, killed the Marvel Universe. He's then hopping from universe to universe, killing each subsequent Marvel Universe. And eventually, through a bizarre series of events, finds himself able to travel into other fictional works. And by killing characters in those, erases the existence of every alternate version of Marvel characters. So, for example, he goes to Moby Dick, and he kills Captain Ahab. And Thunderbolt Ross ceases to exist as a character inspired by Captain Ahab. He kills Pinocchio. Vision
I was going to
ceases
bring up
exist.
Pinocchio.
They're taking out these inspirations for the characters. I love the more meta sort of side of comics, stories that take advantage of their medium. So that's the one I'm gonna say for now. But if you ask me in 2 hours, I'd have a list of different options to choose from.
Oh no, that's a great
If you give
one.
me time to think,
Great pick.
that's what I'm going with.
Okay, so we done for today?
Yeah, I think that's we of course can end on a joke if we have any, but yeah, that is the end of this. So thank you all for watching.
And it's to do with the villain of Civil War.
Check out real fast. Check out the description so you can go to Jack's amazing channel.
At the time this video is going live, the not Captain America, Attack on Titan, final episode of the final season. My reaction to that will have just come out by the time this is going live. Please go check that out. It's hype.
Yes, please. So, Callum, you had a joke?
I took Captain's best friend, and I brought him to our level. It wasn't hard. You see, Civil War is like gravity. All it takes is a little push.
And then I turned him into a half man, half falcon.
We're not ending on a better joke than that. Just cut it now. Cut it. We're not getting anything better.
Cut it.
I'm so squawky.
Ugh.
I'll end it there.